I set my daughter up to be bullied in school. I have an autistic 14-year-old who has terrible hygiene. I have to fight with her to get her to shower, brush her teeth, and clean up after herself during her period. It is disgusting. Blood everywhere and the constant washing of underwear. She sees no problem with her inability to clean herself up. I told her that people are going to bully her in school if she smells bad and that it is hard to recover from that socially, and she ignored me. Well, she had her period last week. I picked her clothes and allowed her to wear white pants. I wanted to see if she would clean up after herself so that the pants would be clean when she came back home. Before I even dropped her off, the pants were red. I stayed silent. I dropped her off like normal. She needed to learn how these types of situations will impact her social life if she continues to live like a slob. She came home in tears. The kids were ruthless. She was mocked for her strong smell and the red on her pants. It hurt me to see her like this, but I was not seeing the changes that had to be made. For the rest of the week, she took good care of herself. There were no stains. She showered herself and would spray perfume to maintain a flowery scent. My husband and I fought about this though. He called me some very hurtful words because of my choice. He said I handled it poorly and that she will be paying for this for the rest of the school year. I see it as a life lesson, and it actually yields the results, unlike my husband's soft approach. Am I the asshole?
My husband-to-be wants everyone to know that I'm not quote-unquote pure. I've been with my fiance for 6 years and engaged for the past 8 months. I've been doing most of the wedding planning, but my fiance, let's just call him Ryan, will give us input here and there. So about a month ago, Ryan out of nowhere said he was talking to some of his coworkers and thinks that I shouldn't wear a white dress. This was totally weird to me. Ryan is a very artistic guy, so I figured this was more about how the photos would turn out or something along those lines. But I'm set on wearing white. I told him this and I could see that he was annoyed, but he let it go. 2 weeks ago, I finally picked and paid for my dress, and this caused a huge argument. Ryan again came to me very annoyed. He asked to see the dress I picked, but I said no because I wanted it to be a surprise for our wedding day. He asked me to at least tell him what color it was, and when I said white, he threw a fit. I honestly do not see why this was a big deal. Almost everyone wears white on their wedding day. When I asked him what color he thought I'd be wearing, he told me I should wear red. Again, this was super weird to me. I asked him why I would ever wear red to our wedding, and he told me that brides only wear white when they are pure. For some background, Ryan and I started dating when I was 21 and he just turned 20. He was a virgin when we met, and I only had one other person who was my ex-boyfriend of 4 years throughout high school. This caused a lot of problems the first year of our relationship, and we almost did not continue dating because of how insecure he felt. After that first year, it was never a problem again until now, I guess. He went to his mom about all of this thinking that she would convince me, but she's on my side. So 2 nights ago, Ryan, his mom, and I stood in our living room and argued about my sex life being shown in a dress. His mom stated that he is no longer a virgin either, so maybe he should wear red too, and he burst out crying. Ryan is still stating that me wearing white would be deceiving all of the guests and that it is different for guys. This all has honestly made me question even marrying this man. I don't know if it's just because everything is so fresh, but I'm really disgusted by him. He's not even religious, so I know that this is just about him still thinking about me losing my virginity at 18 before I even knew him. Today I fucked up by accidentally inviting my boss to my weekend getaway. So I had been planning this weekend getaway with my buddies for months. We were going to a remote cabin in the woods to have some fun, drink some beers, and forget about work for a while. As the weekend approached, I was excited to finally take a break from my stressful job and just let loose. But here's where I messed up. I accidentally included my boss in the group message about the weekend getaway. I didn't realize it until I saw his response in the chat saying he was excited to join us. I immediately panicked because, let's be real, nobody wants to spend a weekend away with their boss. I tried to backtrack and come up with some excuse, but it was too late. My boss had already made plans to come with us, and there was no way out of it. So I spent the whole weekend trying to have fun while also keeping a professional demeanor around my boss. It was the most awkward and uncomfortable weekend of my life.
My husband wants me to cut ties with my best friend because she's now in an open marriage. I, 28 female, have known my best friend Sammy, 28 female, since our freshman year of college, about 10 years. I'm married to Mark, 31 male, and Sammy is married to Tom, 30 male. Mark and I have been together for 4 years. Married for 2 years, and Sammy has been with Tom for 7 years, married for 4 years. Sammy has been having a very difficult time for the past couple years. She had discovered that Tom had been having numerous affairs both before and after their marriage, and was in the process of getting her ducks in a row to leave. finances, lawyer, etc. She had even secured an apartment with her family's help and was about to move when Tom was in a very bad accident and severely injured. The accident was entirely his fault, a one-car accident while he was driving drunk, on the way back from seeing one of his affair partners no less. Out of compassion, Sammy decided not to leave Tom while he was recovering from his injuries, both because he was on her health insurance and because he needed a lot of help with doctor's appointments, physical therapy, etc. Since then, Tom has had numerous surgeries and isn't yet able to work because he's still recovering his energy and mobility. In the meantime, Sammy is working 2 jobs to replace Tom's income and pay for the portion of medical bills not covered by insurance. Fairly early in his recovery, Tom admitted everything he had done and said that he wanted to change and repair things with Sammy, and Sammy thought that she owed it to him to try. However, she discovered a few months ago that although he wasn't having physical affairs, he had been continuing to have sexual conversations and emotional affairs with women online. At this point, Tom admitted that he wasn't wired for monogamy and suggested an open relationship. Sammy didn't really want this, but again she felt she owed it to Tom to not divorce him until he was recovered enough to work and support himself, so she reluctantly agreed. She hasn't gone on dates or anything yet, but she's thinking about starting to try and meet some new people. My husband Mark doesn't believe in open marriages and thinks that marriage requires monogamy and that anything else is cheating, even if the married couple fully agree otherwise. He wants me to end the friendship with Sammy because she is now a cheater in his view and thinks that she'll influence me to cheat or want an open relationship as well. I think this is extremely unfair and is only trying to make the best of a bad situation, and she hasn't even dated anyone yet. The alternative would be either for her to suffer while Tom continues to have affairs, or divorce Tom now and leave him without a home and insurance before he can take care of himself again. Mark is now saying that this is a deal breaker for our marriage and that I have to choose between him and Sammy. I feel sick over this because I made vows to Mark, but I don't think Sammy is doing anything wrong under the circumstances, and she needs her friends more than anything right now. What should I do? Storytime about when I found out I was a ghost. As a kid, I kind of had some sensory tactile issues and told my parents that I would not go to camp because I refused to sleep in pants, pajama pants. They're just not comfortable. My mom is not dissuaded, buys me a full-length white floral nightgown, sends my ass to camp. At camp, I couldn't sleep, so I would lay in bed for a while, awake. And then I got up and walked around. One of the camp counselors found me, assumed I was sleepwalking for some reason, and returned me back to bed. I'm not sure why she assumed I was sleepwalking, but I didn't want to get in trouble, so I did not correct her. Since I had gotten away with it, I did this a few more times. Get up, wander the woods, get ushered back to bed. This was not very safe, and was probably a big worry for the camp counselors. Fast forward to adulthood, I'm chatting with someone who went to the same camp, on the boys' side, a few years after I did. We discuss some of our memories of the camp. I don't disclose the sleepwalking thing, but we do discuss some of the camp's other quirks. He then tells me about a camp ghost story of a little pioneer girl who wanders the campgrounds at night. She was moving west with her family in a covered wagon, but died. Her ghost still wanders, looking for them. He told me that several boys claim to have seen her with their own eyes. I asked him what she looked like, and I'm sure you know the end of the story. I am the ghost that haunts the camp.
Am I in the wrong for telling someone that they're selfish for making a 22-year-old become a child's guardian? My boyfriend's 22, and he has a half-sister named Elena who's 12. They have the same dad, and he is not involved in their lives. Their moms were close friends, so they saw each other a lot. Elena's mom, Sandra, was diagnosed with cancer last year, and she went through treatment, but it's been determined that there's nothing they can do but make her comfortable. She'll most likely pass sometime this year. He has no family, and as Malcolm has spent a lot of the time taking care of Elena, driving her to school, making meals, etc. Recently, Malcolm sat me down and said that Sandra asked to speak to him. He said she understood if the answer was no, but asked him to take custody of Elena, sooner rather than later. Malcolm would have to move in with them. Her life insurance policy would help the care. To my surprise, he agreed to all of this without even talking to me. He said we only were together for 6 months, and I asked if he felt too young for this. He said sort of. He'd do it for his sister. Talking to Sandra, she mentioned how grateful she was for him. I told her I found the whole thing a little selfish, and she got very defensive. She said, well, he said yes. And I said, what else is he supposed to say? Malcolm called me later screaming at me. I'm with Asla for refusing to let my husband's infertile friend name our son. My husband's best friend is infertile. He got divorced 2 times because of it because he lied about it. And his life has not been the same since he was told that he cannot have kids. He always had a soft spot for children, and when he found out that my husband and I were expecting, he was so thrilled and started buying us gifts and decor pieces that he even made from his wood shop. My husband thinks those are all nice gestures, but I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable, especially with how much he keeps mentioning the baby. A few days ago, my husband and I found out the gender of our baby, and the minute we told Will, he started calling the baby random names that he picked out, that he was going to give his kid if he wasn't infertile. Then he started begging us to use the name, and my husband said it was a done deal. I refused, but my husband called me heartless and told me to do this one small, nice gesture for a struggling friend. Just to give him closure and honor him after everything he did for us. I flipped out because I said it's my baby, not his. My husband's friend heard this and left immediately. My husband yelled at me saying that it's his baby too. My behavior towards his best friend. He left after him and didn't come